Hello vinyl community, this is Randy, back today with another time-tested record. Time-tested records, those are records that have been in my collection for a long time. I've listened to them consistently over the years, and I still listen to them today as much as any other records that I have. So today's time-tested record, Jeff Beck, Wired. Wired is Jeff Beck's solo album from 1976. On this album, he plays with Narada Michael Walden on drums. Wilbur Bascom plays bass. Max Milton plays clavinet, and Jan Hammer plays synthesizer. This record is an instrumental record, and yeah, it's one that I've listened to since it came out in 1976. This record was kind of a surprise to me when I got it in 1976. I had read about it, and well, I don't even know if I'd really read a review. I'd probably at least seen advertisements in magazines, you know, like Cream, Hit Parader, Circus, I guess would have been the main three that I read back then. And I'd always heard of Jeff Beck, but I really had never heard any of his music before. I knew that he'd been in the Yardbirds, but had never really heard any of that. So I saw this record advertised, and it looked really cool, so I bought it, and I brought it home, and you know, I was just absolutely shocked. It was not what I was expecting at all. I thought it was going to be something more along the lines of Led Zeppelin. You know, maybe a power trio type approach or something, but it's not at all. This is an instrumental album. Jazz fusion, I think, is the way you would classify this record. So, yeah, it was totally a shock to me. It took me a while to get used to it. I wasn't really happy about that at first, but you know, back then when I got it, I really didn't have that many records, and if I invested the money in a record, I was probably going to listen to it some, you know, whether I liked it a whole lot or not. So, you know, I did keep on listening to it, and I did, you know, obviously learn to understand it and get into it. So, you know, and then it started really growing on me. So, yeah, it's become really one of my favorite records. Yeah, so like I said, this was my first Jeff Beck record. Jeff Beck started with the Yardbirds in the 60s. I have gotten some more records since then, since 1976. So this was a Yardbirds Greatest Hits record that I got a few years ago. And this shows 3 Yardbirds records on the back. Jeff Beck, I think, played on all 3 of these. For Your Love, Having a Rave Up, and Over, Under, Sideways, Down. This Over, Under, Sideways, Down seems to be, maybe it came out with a different title in England. Not really sure about that, but I think that it's Jeff Beck playing on basically all these songs on this Yardbirds Greatest Hits album. So, yeah, Shapes of Things, and Still I'm Sad, I think would be, well, For Your Love is on here too. So, I'm a Man. Boy, I'm just not sure if he plays on all these or not. I'm a Man is on here. But anyway, Jeff Beck, he was in the Yardbirds there. That record is on this classic Epic label. Love that yellow Epic label. And after he left the Yardbirds, he formed his own band, and he did a couple records with Rod Stewart and Ronnie Wood playing with him. I've showed this record before. He did 2 records with them. Those were listed as Jeff Beck records, I think. I don't think it was called Jeff Beck Group. I think it was just called Jeff Beck, but they were on it. Ron Wood playing bass, actually, in that group. So, see, the drummer on this is Tony Newman. Yeah, so this is early Rod Stewart singing, and this, obviously this is not instrumental. This has vocals on it, so this was probably a little bit more in that, you know, Led Zeppelin type direction I was thinking I was going to get with the Jeff Beck album. The, you know, a little bit more heavier rock from back in the late 60s. So yeah, Truth and Beckola. He played with those guys, I guess, for a couple of years. That one was on the Orange Epic label. the other record. This is, I guess I must say Truth Beck on it, but this is, well, which one do I have here? This is green sleeves on here, so, yeah, this is Truth record here, so, yeah, the Beck looks just the same as that one. So, yeah, so he played with Wood and Stewart for a while. After that, he formed another Jeff Beck group and played with Cozy Powell on drums. They did a couple of albums there. And then after he played with them for a while, he formed a band with Carmen Appice and Tim Bogert. So Carmen Appice and Tim Bogert from Vanilla Fudge. I think that when that band broke up, they'd wanted to play with Jeff Beck then. They'd all three wanted to play together, but evidently there was something standing in the way, so Jeff Beck did those other bands, and Carmen and Tim went on to be in Cactus for a few years, but I guess they got done with whatever obligations they had, and they were able to get together, so they formed a band called Beck Bogert and Appice, and they only released one album, which I don't have that record. One album in the United States. They did release this one in Japan, which is Beck Bogert and Appice Live. So that American album looks very much like this one. This just has the live part, I think, added on at the end. Okay, so this is a 2-record set, and this came out in 1974, I think, or 73. Yeah, obviously this is a Japanese pressing. Has the obi strip here, and came with this small booklet inside, which has the Japanese writing here, and then English over here. Has the lyrics to the songs. The very first song on here is Superstition, the Stevie Wonder song, and yeah, Tim Bogert sings that one, so yeah, that sounds really cool. So Beck Bogert and Appice. So yeah, once again, this is very much in that, you know, what I was thinking of was like the Led Zeppelin, the heavy blues rock type music. So I did that for a while, and oh, I forgot to mention that in those bands that were between the Rod Stewart band and Beck Bogert and Appice, he played with in the Jeff Beck group. The keyboard player was a guy named Max Middleton. Well, after he got done with Beck Bogert and Appice, he got back to work with Max Middleton and released this record called Blow by Blow. This one came out in 1975 with Max Middleton playing keyboards. This is a fantastic record. This has, you know, really one of the very best Jeff Beck songs. Three-Way Jam is on here. Thelonious on here. You Know What I Mean, She's a Woman. The cover of the Beatles song, She's a Woman. So this is really excellent album. One thing I'll just point out to you while I got it out here, 75, this came out, he's playing this Les Paul on the cover here, Gibson Les Paul. In 76, he had wired, and he switched to a Stratocaster. Even though the interesting thing is on the back of it, he's back to his Les Paul. I guess obviously he must have played both of those guitars. Yeah, so... yeah, Blow by Blow in 1975, another instrumental album. Fantastic. Obviously, I got that one a little bit after I got Wired, maybe within a year after I got Wired, when I really learned that I really didn't like Wired. I went back and got Blow by Blow. Let's see. So I had those that copy of Wired and Blow by Blow back then that I got. Something happened to those along the way. I no longer have those original copies. For a while there, I had this cassette tape which had both albums on one cassette, so that was a good deal. I listened to this today. It actually still works just fine. But then I finally did go ahead and get the other copies. So yeah, that first that copy of Wired that I just showed you, it seemed like it had some noise when I first got it. So I got a Friday Music reissue in 2009. This one added a gatefold sleeve. That's really like the most useless gatefold sleeve I've ever seen. It's just the front cover spread across both sides. Anyway, I got this one from Friday Music, so this one sounds really good. Then a little bit later, I got the record doctor record cleaning machine, and I gave the first one I had a very thorough cleaning, and now it sounds great. That's actually a Dutch pressing from 1989, I think. So now I have two perfect sounding copies, which, you know, I guess that's good. So here's the way this one looks. This is the Friday music one. So yeah, Jeff Beck, Wired, 1976 album, all instrumental jazz fusion. Yeah, one of the classic albums from that era. So yeah, I still listen to this one today as much as any other records that I have, so I really enjoyed it. So that's it. That's what I have to tell you about this record. So yeah, let me know what you think about Jeff Beck or this record. Have you heard of him? I'm actually working on getting maybe a few more Yardbirds records. I'd like to fill out that collection, but you know, it's no rush. So anyway, that's it. Yeah, let me know what you think about this record, and thanks very much for watching.